Welcome to part 2 of the Experience Cloud Consultant Exam Preparation Series, where we focus not just on passing the exams, but on gaining the real practical experience you need to confidently build Experience Cloud sites. With this, let's get into it. So in part 1, we've gone through the exam overview, what the certification is about, who it's designed for and why it's valuable, and how the exam works. We also cover tips and mistakes to avoid so you can better prepare for the exam. For those who haven't watched it, I'll include it in the description below. In part 2, we'll dive into the Experience Cloud fundamentals, include basic concepts, use cases, templates, themes, and branding, personalization, and content. This will help you understand the building blocks of any Experience Cloud implementation. In the Experience Cloud Basics section, we'll be covering 4 topics. First topic will be covering specific use cases for Experience Cloud. Second topic will be going over some of the common personas. Third topic will be going over how to set up external accounts and users and how they are used in Experience Cloud. Last topic for the section will be going over how to set up an Experience Cloud and some of the key features and functions that are available within Experience Workspaces. All right, topic number 1, which is around Experience Cloud use cases. We'll start with the overview followed by different site types, and we'll go over mobile publisher, which allows you to publish an app for your Experience Cloud sites for mobile experiences. And I've also provided some childhood modules for your hands-on exercises and help articles for additional information. In terms of the overview, we'll be going over what Experience Cloud does, some of the key advantages, and the engagement you have with customers, partners, and employees. And we'll also be going over the return on investment that you can get by implementing Experience Cloud in the Salesforce org. In a nutshell, Experience Cloud allows you to create branded digital experiences linked to your Salesforce org. It supports many functions. For example, you can use an Experience Cloud to create portal, website, help center, or forums for discussion for your customers, partners, and employees. It also allows audience-based access to data and content. What that means is depending on who your audiences are, you can set up your Experience Cloud pages in a way that they only get access to certain content based on who they are and which region they belong to, for example. Key advantages with Experience Cloud is that it provides a lot of out-of-the-box themes and templates that allows you to build the site much more quickly. And also you have Salesforce content management system available, which you can link up to your Experience Cloud site, all of which will go into much more detail later in the video. And because you have this external facing Experience Cloud site, it allows you to extend your business processes to external users. You can also integrate third-party data. For admins and developers, Experience Cloud has controls that allows you to maintain secure and access to data. You can use your Experience Cloud site to engage with your customers, provide product information, self-service capabilities, allow the users to raise cases and interact with your customer community. You can have knowledge articles, live chat, and also case submissions to improve your customer support. You can have customer insights, dashboard, and reports to have a look at some of the areas where it requires improvement and looking at the case volumes as well. When it comes to engaging with your partners, for example, distributors, You can use Experience Cloud sites to provide functionalities such as lead distribution and registration, quoting functionalities, marketing. You can provide onboarding, training, and resources for your partners as well. You can also use Experience Cloud sites as a way to engage with your employees by providing access to features and resources. Some of the key metrics you can use to measure return on investment is to look at the number of deflected cases, the time amount the agent spends on every case, customer satisfaction, and the Net Promoter Score. Moving on, let's look at the site types. In Experience Cloud, there are generally three site types. You have customer site, which is a B2C, business to customer. You have partner site, which is business to business, and the employee site. Within customer site, there are a couple of pre-built templates available. You have customer service and customer account portal. Don't worry if these terms are not familiar to you. We will be doing deep dive in each of these later on in the video. Coming back to key functions. So the customer sites allow you to provide customer service to your customers. It allows the customers to receive self-service support. And it provides data access such as account information, orders, invoices, product information. And with the customer sites, it covers Service Cloud functionalities such as case management. With partner site, there is a pre-built template available, which is the Partner Central template. Some of the key functionalities you can use for the partner site are sales collaboration. It also allows your distributors, resellers to work with the company's employees. It includes both sales and service cloud features. These features are basically customer community plus features, plus leads, opportunity events, email, and campaign object. Marketing Development Fund, CPQ and third-party app integration. It also provides functionalities such as onboarding, lead qualification, opportunity management, deal registration, and quoting. You can also use Experience Cloud to build employee sites, which can provide things such as onboarding, training, recruiting, and ticketing functionalities. Let's take a look at the mobile publisher. With the mobile publisher, it allows you to turn your Experience Cloud site into an app, and you can build it, then package it for distribution. What you need to do is you'll need to publish your app using Mobile Publisher for Experience Cloud. You'll need to sign up for the Mobile Publisher program, create developer accounts with the app platforms where you want to distribute, for example, Google Store or Apple Store. So in summary, it essentially allows you to create and publish a fully branded version of your site. I've included a help article which provides details on how to actually publish an app for your Experience Cloud site using the mobile publisher. The reason it's included here is this is a popular exam question, so it might be something that's worth going over and commit to memory. In terms of resources, there's a Trailhead module which I recommend you to do, a demo on Experience Cloud on its capabilities, and some of the Experience Cloud examples, a few help articles which are very useful to read through. All right, moving to topic 2, which is around common personas for Experience Cloud. So in here, we'll go over the end user personas, the employee personas, and also some of the key resources. In terms of the end user personas, these are typically the users that would access your Experience Cloud sites. These are typically external users and sometimes internal users as well. You have customers and partners, and also employees. Customers and partners, these are external users. For customers, these typically require Experience Cloud license. And for customer, these will require customer community licenses. And there are various types for this, which we'll cover in detail later on in the video. Now moving to partner users. These are again external users similar to your customer users, and they again require Experience Cloud licenses, specifically the partner community licenses. As for employees, these are typically internal users. They will have internal license. It can be either Salesforce license or Salesforce platform license. One thing that's important to note is that because they already have these internal licenses, they do not need external licenses to access the site. Let's now look at the employee personas. So these are typically the people that work for the company that are associated with managing the Experience Cloud site. These people can be Experience Cloud site admin, they can be the Experience Cloud builder, moderator, or site manager. For admins, they are typically involved in user management, doing site settings and maintenance. For builder, these are the people that develop and customize user interface and also functionalities. Moderators usually monitor user activity and moderate content from the site members. Managers usually are involved with member support, enforcing community standards, developing strategy and guidelines, monitor usage and health, and also recognize and reward members via gamification. In terms of resources, we have a childhood module that I recommend you to go over, which will learn about the Experience Cloud personas. I've got a help article that goes over how these employee personas can work together to work on the Experience Cloud site. All right, moving to topic number 3, which covers the type of external accounts and how they are used in an experience. We'll be going over external accounts and context, how self-registration works, and again, resources that are helpful in this topic. In terms of external accounts, we have 2 types, customer account and partner account. You can create account records for your customers, and to add users under your customer account, you don't need to enable the account record as customer account to add customer users. You can add them directly. So the way to add them directly is you will create a customer account first, and then you would add your customer users by creating a contact record that's related to your customer account. Next step will be, once you have the contact record created, you need to enable the contact record as customer user, and there's usually a button on the page layout. If it's not there, you'll need to add it on the contact page layout. Once you click on this button, a window will appear, and this is where you would create your user record by specifying the role, the user license, and the profile. For user license, common licenses for customers are Customer Community and Customer Community Plus. Again, we'll go over the differences later on in the video. And as mentioned earlier, you need to select Profile and Role. After you've done all of this, you'll have a custom user created. I highly encourage you to give this a try, as this is quite an important concept for the exam. Now moving to the partner account. Again, you can create account records for your partners. The key difference between partner account and customer account is that to add partner users, to a partner account. The partner account needs to be enabled as partner, whereas for customer account, you don't have to enable the customer account as customer accounts. It can stay as an account record without doing additional actions. So going back to the partner account, once the account has been created, you can enable this as partner account by clicking on this button on the page layout. Again, if it's not there, you'll need to add it on the account layout page. Similar to creation of the customer users, you can add to the partner account by creating a contact record that's related to the account. And you will click on the Enable as Partner User button on the contact record page. Once you've done that, again, a user record will be created, and this is where you can assign licenses. And typically for partner users, you would assign the partner community license. And you'll need to select the profile and the role. In terms of considerations, personal accounts, they can't be used as partner accounts because personal accounts are not associated with a business account, which is required as partners. Only business accounts can be used as partner accounts, and only partner accounts can be used to create partner users. These are quite important when it comes to the exam, so make sure to spend time to understand this and have done some hands-on exercises to commit this to the memory. All right, let's talk about self-registration. So we'll give it a quick overview and we'll talk about how to create personal accounts or contact under business account when creating self-registered users. So on a high level, self-registered users, they can be saved as personal account or contact under a business account. So in summary, self-registered users are users that will come into your Experience Cloud site and sign up manually, as opposed to logging in via, for example, social login via Google or Microsoft. So to set up self-registration, this is where you need to go. You'll need to go into all sites, Workspaces, Administration, Login, and Registration. And there's a section called Registration Page Configuration. You'll need to allow customers and partners to self-register. Once enabled, the users will be able to register on the login page. Again, we'll go into the self-registration process a bit later in the video. For now, the focus will be knowing the account types for accessing experience. So in terms of creating personal accounts for your self-registered users, what you'll need to do is on the same setting page, you'll need to leave the account field blank, and this would create personal accounts automatically when the users register for your site. If you want to create a contact under a business account, what you can do is, again, on the same page, instead of leaving this blank, you'll need to select a business account. And this will enable the self-registered users to have a contact created under this specified business account. In terms of resources, I have a help article attached talking about creating site users and also configuring the self-registration page. All right, moving to topic 4. In this topic, we'll be going over some of the key features and functions of Workspaces for building an Experience Cloud site. We'll take a look at how to access Experience Cloud Workspaces, and we'll be doing a quick overview of all the configurations that you can do within the Workspaces for Experience Cloud. And this includes administration, content management, the Experience Builder, guided setup, dashboards, moderation, and gamification. I've also got a couple of resources that I would recommend you to go through as well. All right, let's take a look at how to access Workspaces. So you'll need to go to Setup, go into All Sites. And if you have Experience Cloud sites created already, you'll be able to see them here. And you can click on Workspaces for the Experience Cloud site where you want to make modifications to the configuration. Once you are in the Workspaces, this is what you'll see. So you'll be able to see a list of options where you can make configurations or setting changes. We'll start by taking a look at administration. So in administration, you have a list of options that you can select, and you'll be able to make changes to preferences, members, contributors, and so on. What I'll recommend you to do is to create an Experience Cloud site and go into each of these options and flick between the pages just to get a rough idea of what's over there and what's available for you to configure. For most of these items here, we'll go into much more detail later in the section. So for now, just have an overview of where things are and what can be configured and what can be changed. Let's take a look into content management. So in content management, which is another one of the menu items in Workspaces, what you can do is, in terms of contents, these are things like documents, images, or news. And these can be organized into collections and shared in the content management system. Don't worry if this does not make a lot of sense at the moment. We have a couple of topics coming up in the video where we will go into all of this in much more detail. In terms of the content management Connect, CMS Connect, and that's one of the items over here. This allows you to connect to external content management systems, and there's further personalizations that can be done if you connect to the Adobe AEM. And again, we'll go over this in detail later on. There's also the Salesforce CRM function where you can connect and where you can define the CRM connection for Salesforce objects. And again, you can have collections defined to display data from an object and list view. And in content management, you can also configure things like collections, topics, and recommendations. Again, we'll go over these later in the video. All right, moving on to Experience Builder. So when you click on the Builder function here, or when you click on the Builder link under All Sites, this is where this will lead you to. You'll be able to configure quite a few things over here. So the icon here is the components. So these are similar to your Lightning pages where there's a bunch of out-of-the-box components or custom components you can drag and drop to the screen. Second one here is theme. So this allows you to apply color, font, or style to match your company brand. You can upload logos to generate custom color scheme. Page, there are usually quite a few pages over here on your Experience Cloud sites. The page structure will allow you to do further configurations and setup. And you have settings here. So these are the key settings that you can configure for your Experience Cloud site. And here you can also preview and publish. And again, we'll go over this in much more detail later in the video. Next menu item, we have guided setup. Guided setup is for things that are a bit more complex to set up, often involves multiple steps. It's a good idea for you to actually go through all of these and go through the setup process and get familiar with these processes and what's available in terms of these features. Next, we have dashboards. In the dashboard menu, there are a few things that you can do. One is engagement insights, and these are mapped to a report folder inside Salesforce, so you can set up reports for your Experience Cloud site and having a link and mapped over here, and they will allow those reports to appear under the engagement tab. The dashboard tab allows you to show any dashboards that you've mapped from the internal Salesforce to here. And to map it, you go into Workspaces, Dashboards, and Settings. Again, we'll go over this in detail in the relevant sections later in the video. Coming up next, we have Moderation. So this allows you to monitor and manage member-created content. You can set up moderation rules, which you can use to enforce moderation using the content and member criteria, which we'll cover in detail shortly as well. Let's take a look at gamification. For this one, we'll go into a bit more detail because later on in the video, there's no corresponding topic associated with gamification, and this is usually a popular exam topic. So with gamification, you'll need to understand three concepts. You've got badges, missions, and reputation levels. You can think of this similar to childhood. So reputation levels will be your childhood level. It can be a 1-star ranger, 2-star ranger, or all-star ranger. Missions can be a trial or a unit where you can complete, and upon completion, you get a badge. So let's take a look at what this means in the Experience Cloud context. So badges are a way to recognize member engagement and activity. You can assign this manually or automatically. To do it automatically, it'll be done upon completion of mission. So missions can be defined to automatically assign badges to members. In terms of reputation levels, so this is a way to keep your community engaged by gamifying the community and encourage engagement. Configuration, there are a couple of prerequisites. First, chatter must be enabled. Second, you'll need to enable this particular setting called enable setup and display of reputation levels. And this can be found under Workspaces, Administration Preferences, under Experience Management. In terms of configuration, once you've met the prerequisites, you'll be able to see two additional settings, two additional items under the administration menu. And these are reputation levels and reputation points. In terms of reputation levels, you can define the point range for each of the levels. And you can also, for reputation points, decide how many points you can get depending on different engagement. For example, if you write a post, you get 1 point. If you receive a like, that's 5 points. In terms of the display, there is an out-of-the-box Lightning component available called Reputation Leaderboard, where you can drag and drop and put it on your page. And this will just show the users with the points and who's leading. In terms of the permission, you'll need to have the Manage Community permission to be able to configure the reputation points and assign new point levels to actions. In terms of hands-on, I'll recommend you to have a play in the gamification section, create a few badges by clicking on New and create some missions to assign the badges automatically. So in here, you can actually set up different activities, description, the threshold, and the name of the mission. And settings over here, this is where you can enable gamification. In terms of resources, I have 3 help articles One is for managing your site using Workspaces. The other one is around moderation strategies and gamification. All right, let's move on to templates and themes, which is worth 10% of the exam. We'll do something a bit differently for this section. We'll first start with topic number 2. We'll start with Experience Cloud templates, and this will be followed by Experience Cloud themes. The reason for doing this is it's easier to understand if we start going over how to select the right Experience Cloud templates, followed by the Experience Cloud themes. Then we'll go over how to package, export, and import templates. And lastly, we'll cover lightning bolting experiences. All right, so we'll start with how to identify the right Experience Cloud templates for a given scenario. So in this topic, we'll be covering Visualforce templates, lightning templates, and I'll again provide resources and recommendations on how to prepare for this section and how to get yourself familiar with all the templates. So on a very high level, there are two types of templates. You have Visualforce template and Lightning template. In Visualforce template, you have Salesforce tabs and Visualforce template. So this allows you to build an Experience Cloud site using customization and mainly by using standard Salesforce structure and tabs. And this is what the look and feel looks like. Now let's look at Lightning templates. So in Lightning templates, you can build an Aura site or LWR site. Let's take a look into Aura first. All right, so in Aura, there are 6 templates that are available out of the box. If you have Industry Cloud, you might have a few additional ones. But for standard Salesforce orgs, these are the 6 that are available out of the box for you to configure and build experiences quickly from these templates. So you have Customer Service, Customer Account Portal, Partner Central, Help Center, Aloha, and Build Your Own Aura. In Customer Service, it allows your users, mainly your customers, to create and manage cases. It allows you to engage in discussions, allows access to knowledge articles, access to field service such as work orders, service appointments, and access to support. So your customers can submit case, they can search and view knowledge articles, they can post questions, and depending on the license types, which we'll go into in a bit, some license types will allow you to access reports and dashboards. Next, we have Customer Account Portal. So the main difference between the Customer Service and Customer Account Portal template is that in the Account Portal template, it allows your customers to manage their own account information, allows integration from third-party systems via Salesforce Connect. However, you don't have access to cases and chatter questions. You still have access to knowledge base, and you can set it up to allow your customers to view invoices and make payments. Moving on, we have Partner Central next. So these are typically experiences that you will create for your partners. This template supports partner relationship management workflows, lead management, channel sales, marketing, lead distribution, registration, partner recruitment, and onboarding. Next up, we have the Help Center template. So this allows you to build public access self-service site that exposes knowledge articles to the end users. One major benefit with this site is that it allows case to be deflected as customers can find answers they need before they have to contact your support team. They can have a read into the knowledge articles to find questions that they might have. Next up, we have Aloha. So this is a configurable app launcher that allows you to access third-party and Salesforce applications. Last one, we have Build Your Own Aura. So this allows you to customize the site and It allows you to be flexible with whatever you need to create to set up your site. So we've just gone over all the Aura Lightning templates. Now we'll cover the Lightning Web Runtime LWR templates. In Lightning Web Runtime, you have two templates available. You have microsite and build your own LWR. These microsites are typically small purpose-built sites. You can use this to host an idea or product that requires CMS content management system. You can have direct connection to the Salesforce content management system. So any content you have uploaded into your Salesforce CMS, you can directly embed them onto these sites. It can capture visitor info, and most importantly, it provides lead routing by using lead form component. Next, we have build your own LWR. So this allows you to have full customization, and because it's running web runtime, it gives you really good performance. So if you need a site that loads really quick and you need high efficiency and high customization, this will be the one to go to. In terms of resources, I have included a help article that goes over what templates you should use, and also a childhood module that that helps you to understand more about Experience Cloud. So my recommendation for this is that I would recommend you to create an Experience Cloud site for each of these templates and have a play around. So once you've created them, go through all the pages and settings to see what you can do on each of these. All you need to do is to go into all sites and click on New. Once you click on New, you can select different templates that is available to your org. So we'll just wait for this to load. And what you'll see here is you'll be given a bunch of templates that are available. So my recommendation is to actually create one for each of these and have a play around and see what all the pages and all the settings is about, similar to what I've got here, how I've created one for each of the types. All right, now we've completed topic 2, which is around selecting templates. Now we'll go over how to select appropriate themes for Experience Cloud sites for given scenario. In this section, we'll go over a couple of things. So default template themes and pre-built themes. In default template themes, we'll go over the overview and how to change it. In pre-built themes, we'll go over the various types of pre-built themes that are available. So a quick overview on the default template themes. Each template has a default template theme. So in the previous section, we've gone over 6 templates that are available for each of the sites. For each template, it comes with a default theme. So for example, the customer service template comes with the customer service theme. The help center template comes with the help center theme. Partner Central template comes with Partner Central theme. Customer Account Portal template comes with the Customer Account Portal theme. Aloha template comes with Aloha theme. And Visualforce tabs and Visualforce template comes with Visualforce tabs and Visualforce theme. So if you don't like your default theme, you can change the default theme to the so-called pre-built themes. And you can do that via 2 different ways. So you go to Builder, Setting, Theme, and Change. Or you can go to Builder, Theme, which is this icon here, and Change Theme. So in this example below, I'm using the customer service template, which is this one here. So by default, it's the customer service theme. So to change it, I just click on the change button and this will bring up a window that shows you what's currently active. So at the moment, it's the customer service template, which is a default template theme. And these are the 6 that you can choose from. And now we'll go into these 6 different pre-built theme types, and we'll go over what each of these are best suited for. All right, let's go into pre-built themes. So there are different types of pre-built themes. We have 6 different types: Ember, Stella, Gypsum, Cypress, Citizen, and Webster. So Ember, this is what it looks like. It's flexible and content-centered, so it's suitable for displaying sales analytics to partners in a partner portal. You have also the Stella theme, which is also quite content focused and suitable for Help Central, FAQ, collection, or product information as well. Gypsum, this is again quite content focused and suitable for customer collaboration on the platform or forum. Moving to Cypress, this is now a bit more brand focused, and it's got this really nice hero component for call to action. So if you are promoting or servicing any content that you want the customers to take actions, this will be a good pre-built template to choose. Following that, we have Citizen, which is also brand focused. So it's suitable for collaboration, customer service, and customer accounts. Next, we have Webster. So different to all the other ones, this one is search focused. You have a massive search bar over here. And because it's search focused, it's very suitable for help center and customer service site. In terms of resources, there are 2 help articles that I've provided over here, which talks about pre-built experience themes and also how to add styles to Experience Cloud Builder site with themes. And again, my recommendation, similar to the previous topic, which is around themes, or which is around templates. With themes, I would encourage you to set up a site and change to all these different themes and just have a play around to see what they can do and what they are suitable of, and go over these features when you select themes and try to play around to see if this suits any of your existing use cases. All right, let's take a look at topic number 3, which is about exporting and importing templates. So in this topic, we'll go over how to export templates, followed by how to import it, and I'll again provide resources that will be useful when studying this topic. In terms of exporting templates, to export a template, you need to navigate to all sites. Click on Builder for the site you intend to export as a template. Go to Settings, Developer, Export a template. In here, this is quite important, and it's actually quite a popular exam question. You have to fill in quite a few things: name, publisher name, category, images, summary, and you can add up to 4 key features for your template. So these features are the key functionalities for your template, and these will be shown during the import process. So very important to provide good details. So the exporter template, so once you've hit export, the exporter template can be reused for creating an Experience Cloud site via the Experience Creation Wizard, which we'll go into shortly when we talk about importing templates. The exporter template can also be added to the Lightning Bolt solution, which we'll talk about this right after this topic. So that will be covered in topic number 4. But for now, just know that anything that's exported, it can be included in a package. So in this screenshot here, I have exported a template, which I've named it FF Financial Customer Portal. So how do you import a template? It's actually quite a simple process. There's nothing special that you need to do. So once a template has been exported, when you create a new site, and this is where you go to old site and new, this will bring up a window, and this is what we call the experience creation wizard. So this template that I have exported will appear over here. And you can see underneath here, this is where the features they have written will appear. And in this case, I only included a feature here, and that's why there's only a single feature appearing here, which is FI Financial Customer Portal. If you include multiple features, it will look like this. So because this is already there and it's been exported, it'll be available as a template in the experience creation wizard, and this can be used to build a new experience builder site. So what this means is that you are not starting from scratch, and you can build it much faster because you already have a template that you've worked on in the past. In terms of resources, I have included an help article here, which will go into details about how you can export a template for Lightning Bolt solution, which we will cover after this topic. All right, topic number 4, Lightning Bolt solutions. In this topic, we'll go over Lightning Bolt solutions and also the resources. For Lightning Bolt solution, we'll first cover the overview, followed by configuration and how to distribute it. So on a high level, Lightning Bolt solution is a package that can include 3 things. Experience builder templates, which can have themes, layouts, CSS, pages, Lightning components. Basically, everything that's contained within the template. Flow categories. So these are groups of flows for business processes. So a flow category can have one or more flow, and these can be created via setup and flow category. So in here, I'm creating a flow category called case management automation, and in here, I've selected 2 flows. In the Lightning Bolt solution, you can also include custom Lightning apps. So how do you actually create a Lightning Bolt solution? You need to go to Setup, Lightning Bolt Solution, and Create. Upon the Create button, you will see a few steps. The first page, you'll need to include name, developer name, description, primary industry, your partner name, and you can upload some images for your Lightning Bolt solution. You can add a few features covering some of the functionalities that this Lightning Bolt solution includes. After you click on Next, there are 3 tabs where you can include various things. So we talk about custom apps, which is the custom Lightning apps. We've talked about flow categories over here, and we've talked about experience builder templates, which is on the 3rd tab. So we are in the first tab, which is custom apps. So you can select multiple or a single Lightning app that you want to include into the package. In the flow categories, you can again select one or more flow categories. And in the experience builder template, you can select a template which you have exported. And we've covered how to export a template in the previous topic, which is topic number 3. So once you've created your Lightning Bolt solution, what can you do with it? So lightning bolt solutions, it can be included in managed and unmanaged package. What this means is that it can easily distribute this to other orgs, it can distribute this to other users or via App Exchange. And having a lightning bolt solution allows you to build new Experience Cloud sites quicker and faster. And it's just not limited to Experience Cloud sites as well, because in here it includes custom apps and flow categories as well. In terms of resources, I have included a help article which goes over how to create a lightning bolt solution. In this section, we'll be going over branding, personalization, and content. We'll be covering 4 topics. Topic number 1, we'll be going over how to use the experience builder to set up an experience. Topic 2 will cover how to set up search and its capabilities. This will be followed by topic number 3, where we'll talk about how to implement Salesforce content management system. And lastly, topic number 4 will be going over how to set up knowledge articles and how to make it visible or accessible on the Experience Cloud site. All right, let's take a look into topic number 1, modify an experience within the Experience Builder. We'll go over what customization options are available, and we'll also go over audiencing and how to set this up, what it is, and what benefits it can bring to your Experience Cloud implementation. So when it comes to customization, there are actually many things that you can customize. These are the key ones that you would usually customize on an Experience Cloud site. You have colors, images, fonts, system pages, dynamic branding, and themes and templates. To customize colors, you'll need to go to the builder, theme, colors. And these are all the color settings that's available to you. You can update the color for your text, action, link, etc. And you can even generate a fine image. So if you want the coloring to be matching your company logo, for example, you can do that by uploading your logo or any other images that you would like the color to be generated from. My recommendation for all of this is to actually create a page for it and have a play around all the settings that's available on the page. Next, we have images. Again, you can customize this by going to the builder, theme, which is the second icon here, images. You can upload image for your company logo and also the background image for the login pages. Fonts. Again, you go to themes and font, and here you can select fonts for primary font, header, and text case. System pages. There are a few system pages that you can customize. You have login page, servers not available, and too many requests. With the login page, there are additional settings that you can set up. You'll need to go to Workspaces, Administration, Login, and Registration. And this is what you'll see. And again, we'll go over this in a bit more detail later on, as there's a section that talks about logins and registration for users. For the login page user interface, you can select the login page in this drop down here, and this will bring you to the login page which you can further customize. And that is the same with service not available page. Again, select service not available, which will bring you to this page, and you can drag and drop additional components that you will like on this page. And that is applicable to the too many requests page as well. Next, we have dynamic branding. So this is achieved by using branding sets. And to configure this, you need to go to the builder, themes, manage branding sets. So in this screenshot over here, I have set up an additional branding set, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to display. And you can also set up your audiences, which we'll go over shortly, and display different branding colors, logos, etc., based on who's logging in and who your users are. So for these, it supports different colors, different images, and different fonts. You can also customize different themes and templates, and we've already covered this from the previous section from themes and templates. So if you need a revision, I'll recommend you to go back to this section and revisit. But basically, you can change themes from here to pick a different theme or template. All right, let's talk about audience. We'll start with an overview and we'll talk about how to actually create audiences for your site. So you can define an audience by selecting criteria and the conditions under which the criteria apply. After you create an audience, you can assign it to a page variation, branding set, or component. We'll cover this shortly when we talk about creating audiences. So you essentially want to use audiences to vary the content that the users see. So for example, you have a navigation menu that you want to set up differently for your site members and guest users. For example, for your site members, you want them to access page A, B, C, and D, but for guest users, you only wanted to access page A and C. And this is a good use case for audiencing. You might want to show different content management content to internal employees and external partners. Again, this is a good use case for audiencing. So how do you create audiences? You can create audiences from many different places. You can create it from page variations, which you can access by going into the gear icon here, which will bring up this page window and you can select any page. When you click on this, go into page variations and there's a button here that allows you to manage audiences. On the left, it'll show you a list of audiences that's been created, and these are global. So even you create this from elsewhere, let's say from branding set, you'll still appear over here. So to create a new audience, click on new audience and you'll bring up another window that looks like this. And you'll enter details about how you want the criteria to be set up for your audience, which we'll cover shortly. So you can create audiences for page variations. You can create audience for branding sets. So you go to themes, branding set, there's an icon here that you can click, which will bring up this manage audience pop-up and click on new audience. You can click on supported components. Not all of the Lightning components supports audiencing. The ones that supported, if you click on the Lightning component, in this case, I've clicked on the feature topics component, click on drop down, there should be an option that says assign audience. And this is what you'll see over here. Again, click on new audience. For other components, it might look a bit different. So this one here is for a navigation menu. To assign audiences for navigation menu, you need to go to the page structure, click on theme navigation menu, edit default navigation, and this will bring up another window to allow you to assign different audiences based on different navigation menus. So how do you create an audience? Once you click on new audience, this is where it's going to lead you. You'll see a window here that will allow you to enter an audience name. and audience criteria. So these can be an audience that's already defined. So for example, if you have already defined an audience with the system admin profile, you can put it here. So you click on audience equals system administration. So that's predefined audiences. It can be based on location. So for example, if you live in the UK, you can create an audience for UK and display UK specific content to your audience. And if you live in the US, you can display US specific content. Permission set, so this can be standard or custom permission set. Profile, record. On a record details page, you can set up record-based criteria. So for example, on an account details page on your Experience Cloud site, you can display different content, different components based on the record type, for example. So for an account with score record type, you might want to display score related images or components. And for another record type, for example, a government organization, you can display government related images or content. User, this can be user based criteria as well. Things like first name, last name, not that you're a user, but just as an example, most fields on the user object can be used as criteria to set up your audiences. Resources, I've provided an help article that talks about audiencing in Aura sites and a Childhead module that sets up audience targeting. So I will highly recommend you to go through this, especially Childhead, to get your head around how to actually set this up, which will help tremendously with the exam. All right, topic number 2, explain the capabilities of search within an experience. In this topic, we'll first cover the main capabilities of search, key features, and we'll cover the search results dashboard, the available Lightning components for search, and again, I'll be providing resources as well. For capability, we'll talk about what the search experience looks like and the search result as well. One thing that's quite important to understand about search experience is that it's based on the Experience Cloud template used. So depending on what template has been used, there are different search Lightning components that will be available, which will be covered over here. Search results. One thing that's quite important to understand is that search result returned its site specific. So you can set up your search differently for each of your sites. When it comes to search results, profiles and permission sets will still apply in members' search results. So if your user does not have access to records, it will not appear in their search results. Searchability will be covering user record search, object record search, and also guest user search. When it comes to user search, for security reasons, Salesforce only searches for a small and defined set of fields. For example, name, username, and email. Other fields are not included in the search matching. Object search. There are 2 prerequisites that will make object records searchable. First, the object must be searchable in Lightning Experience, mainly in the internal platform, and also supported in the Experience Cloud templates for an object. So for some objects, they are not supported in Experience Cloud templates, and those won't be searchable if it's not supported. So to make an object searchable, you need to go into Setup, Search Setup, and check the searchable box against the object. An additional requirement requirement for custom object is that it must be related to a tab in the internal org. So if it's not related to a tab, then you won't be searchable. So you need to create a tab for your custom object to be searchable in the Experience Cloud site. Guest user search. So guest users are users that don't require to be logged in on the site. Again, we'll go over guest users in much more detail later on in the video. For guest users, for them to be able to see results from an object, the object must be included for search autocomplete in the search component properties. So if I want the user to be able to see results from cases, the cases object must be included over here, otherwise the user won't see case objects in the search results. Search features. In Salesforce Experience Cloud Search, there are 6 features that's provided out of the box. Lemmatization, spelling correction, expanded queries, federated search, and/or searching, and synonym groups. Lemmatization. So in Experience Cloud Search, it understands the base form of a word so that search results include all relevant variations. This helps users to find the right records even if they don't type the exact word form. So for example, meat and meats. Spelling correction, it auto-corrects spelling of search terms. So it's corrected before the search. For example, if you have misspelled apple, A-P-P-L-E, to A-P-P-E-L, the A-P-P-E-L is auto-corrected to A-P-P-L-E before the search activity. Expanded queries. So search term is part of a word when there are no results. For example, Meta would return metadata if there is no search result for Meta. Federated search. So you can add results from external search providers. You'll need to connect these as external data source. So some of the external search providers are Coveo, Docurator, SwiftType, and Squirrel. And/or searching. When using multiple search terms, search results are based on both and/or search to provide more potential matches. Synonym groups. This can be set up via setup synonyms. And what these are is that words and phrases, they are treated equally in searches. So, for example, meeting, convention, and conference, they are all treated similarly when it comes to search. All right, next we have search results dashboard. So this is an app exchange solution provided by Salesforce. And this allows you to see dashboards and reports that gives you insight into the search activities. And this package also contains the community search dashboard that provides analysis related to search within a site. Lightning components for search. We'll talk about the ones that are available for Aura, and we'll do the same for LWR as well. For Aura, we'll start with search components. So components that provide you with search functionality. And then we'll talk about search result components. These are the components that provide you with the results. There are 3 components that are the main ones when it comes to search. You have a component called search, a component called global search box, and a component called global search for peer-to-peer communities. The search component, which I have a screenshot here for, this allows users to enter search terms. It also gives you an option to enable or disable autocomplete in searches. Let's take a look at Global Search Box. For Global Search Box, it searches for articles, topics, and Salesforce records. It supports autocomplete search. You can't disable it, and it does not use chatter. For the global search for peer-to-peer communities, in addition to articles, it supports discussions and also any objects that's available and made searchable. It also supports autocomplete search. Now let's talk about search result components. We'll talk about a component called search results, another component called global search results. So in the search results component, as you can see, there are only two tabs, discussion and articles. And this is what it's limited to. It can only provide results for articles and discussions. For global search results, you can have searches in one tab or separate tabs. And you can add multiple objects over here as well, depending on what results you want to see and how you want this to be set up. Now, moving on to LWR sites. Again, we'll talk about the search components first, followed by search result components. In terms of the search component, there is only an out-of-the-box one available for LWR, which is the search bar component. So this provides search capability on LWR sites. It supports Salesforce objects and also content management content, CMS content published from enhanced CMS workspaces. For this, we'll cover later on the video to do with CMS content and CMS workspaces. But for now, just know that it supports Salesforce objects and also CMS content. Moving on to the search result components. Again, there is only a single component that's available out of the box for LWR, which is called the results layout. This displays search result from this search bar component. It supports both CMS content and CRM object, and this makes sense because the search component supports both. One prerequisite for this is that for the results layout component to work, you have to create a search page. And to create a search page, you need to create a new page, go to standard page, select search, and this page will appear, which you can drag the results layout component here. And as you can see here under results source, you can select either CMS content or CRM object. Resources, I've provided a link for Childhead that goes over search in Experience Cloud site, and also an article that goes into details about how to configure the search functionality. All right, moving on to topic number 3. In this topic, we'll go over how to implement Salesforce content management system content into Experience Cloud sites. We'll cover what is Salesforce CMS, and we'll go over the Digital Experiences Lightning app, CMS Connect, Content Delivery Network, CDN, and resources. So what can you do with Salesforce content management system? It allows you to create, manage, share, reuse, and deliver content, such as images, articles, videos, and documents across multiple Experience Cloud sites. Let's take a look at Digital Experiences Lightning app. This is what we'll use to configure Salesforce content management system. We'll cover overview followed by configuration, and Experience Cloud sites, CMS workspaces, and CMS channels. This is the Digital Experiences Lightning app. And on here, you can see there's a drop down here, which we'll go over shortly. You can see all the CMS workspaces here, which will again cover all the Experience Cloud sites and some help topics. So how do you set the Lightning app up for digital experience? You'll need to first enable access. I've included a help article link over here. To start with, the users will need to have the right profile or permission sets. So if you go to Object Settings, make sure this tab is available. So Digital Experiences Home, making sure it's available and visible. CMS channels, you'll need to do the same as well, making sure it's available and visible. Also CMX workspaces, making sure it's available and visible. Once your user has access to all these tabs, you'll need to go into the App Manager, the Digital Experiences app, click on Edit, and have a look at the navigation items, making sure all 4 of these items have been selected so that when you come back to this app and click on the drop down, all of these options are available. All right, we'll first take a look at Experience Cloud sites. So in this Digital Experiences app, it shows all of the sites that are available in your Salesforce org. And you can see the published and draft ones and also archived sites. You can also access all the sites via Setup All Sites. In this Digital Experiences app, you can also click on New, and that will allow you to create a new site. All right, next we'll take a look at CMX Workspaces. So you can access CMS Workspaces here, or you can access it via the drop-down menu. When you click on CMX Workspaces drop-down menu, you'll be navigated to this page here that will show you a list of workspaces that you have created, and you can also add a new workspace here. So we've talked about how to create a new CMS workspace. Now let's talk about what it actually is and what it allows us to do. So on a high level, CMS workspaces are a central place where you can create content, you can organize content in folders, and schedule content publication. You can define who has access to the content, who can contribute to it, and where this content can be published and used. So let's go over how you actually go about creating new CMS workspaces. And then we'll cover all of the key features associated with CMS workspaces. So once you've clicked on the Add Workspace button, this is the window that will appear. In here, you'll specify the name of your CMS workspace. You will then add a channel. So a channel is where you can specify the content from this particular workspace that you are creating. In this case, marketing material is made available. So this can be modified later, so you don't have to decide on where you want to make the content available. And all of these lists will cover in the next section where we create CMS channels. But for now, in a simplified view, you can think about these CMS channels as your Experience Cloud sites. So in here, we have a list of sites that's available where you can select to make contents within this workspace available. So in here, I've made content in this marketing material CMS workspace available for Help Center. What that means is when I'm building the Help Center, I'll be able to use all the files, documents that's being uploaded to this particular CMS workspace. It also allows you to specify language. So if you work in an organization that supports multiple languages, This is where you'll be able to select a language for the CMS workspace. All right, so within the CMS workspace, there are quite a few things that you'll be able to do. You'll be able to create content, organize it, add it to collection, move, import, export content. There are settings that you can do, which allows you to share content. You can specify the access levels, specify language. You can monitor the import, export status. There are workflows you can build, publication calendars, workspace sharing, where you can share the content from the CMS workspace with another one, and external assets. All right, let's take a look into each of these one by one. So to create content, first go into the CMS workspace that we have just created. We'll select an existing one. Click on Add, and in the drop-down, you'll be able to create content. On the screen here, these are a list of standard content types. So we have audio, document, image, news, video. It also supports custom content types, and this can be done via an App Exchange product called CMS Content Type Manager, or you can use Metadata API to create custom content types. For example, FAQ or blog posts. All right, let's look at how we can organize content. So if you have multiple files, videos, etc. that you want to organize together into a single place, this is where folders can be very useful. So you will click on the Add button, and it'll allow you to add a folder where you can specify a folder name, and you can move all of your contents into this folder so you can organize it a lot easier and everything in one single place. So folders allows us to organize contents. There are subtle differences between the LWR sites and Aura sites. So in LWR sites, folders are supported by the CMS Lightning component, which you can see here. So this is an LWR site builder, and in here I have added a card component, and when you click on select content, this is what shows up. And here you can see folders over here that allows you to click and view all the files that are inside the folder. In Aura, folders, however, are not exposed. So folders that you have created in the CMS workspace, it's not available. However, individual content items are available for use. So anything that you put inside your folder will still be available in Aura, but you just won't see folders there. So this is what you'll see in Aura under content management. If you go to the content tab, you'll see a list of files and contents available, but you won't see folders. So this is an Aura site where I've dragged a Lightning component as example, and this Lightning component is a CMS single item that allows you to add content from your library. So when you click on Add Content, you'll be able to see a list of contents that are available. Again, you will not be able to see the folders that's been created in your CMS workspace. Let's take a look at collections. So collections allow you to group your contents together. And again, there are subtle differences between LWR sites and Aura sites. Before we get into that, let's talk about the two types of collections. In here, you have the dynamic collection and manual collection. With dynamic collection, you can define conditions that automatically add content items to the collection, and this collection will be updated continuously based on the conditions you set and the available content. Manual connection, you can choose up to 50 items for the collection, and you'll need to add the new content to this manual collection or static connection manually. All right, so we talked about how collections allows you to group contents together. Now let's talk about the differences between the sites. So in LWR sites, collections can be used directly from the CMS workspaces. However, in Aura, collections must be created separately in content management, and these are specific to each site. So they can't be shared across site like how you can do with these collections and content with CMS workspaces, which will cover very shortly on how to share content across CMS workspaces. Over here, we have an LWR site, and in here we have a grid lightning component. This lightning component allows you to show multiple items from your Salesforce content management system. So what I've selected is I've selected CMS collection as the data source. And when you look at over here, you can see logo collection, and this is the collection that I created earlier over here. So in LWR, collections can be used directly. However, in Aura sites, collections are not taken directly from the CMS workspace. Instead, the CMS collections need to be created separately, and these are site specific. So in here, I have to manually create a collection, which you can do that by clicking on new. You'll need to first go into content management, go to collections, click on new. They'll allow you to create a new collection. And once you've done that and add all the content in your collection, you'll be able to access your collection from supported Lightning components. So this is an Aura site where I have dragged a CMS collection component, and in here you can see the Aura correct collection over here. And this will allow us to, in this example, this collection stores images. So if you have multiple images here, you can display all of them using this CMS collection Lightning component on your Aura site. Next, let's look at how we can move, import, or export content. So next to the add button, you can manage the content. You can move, import, and export. Let's look at, and this is where on the left hand side, you'll be able to select what you want to move, what you want to import, and what you want to export. In here, there's an icon that displays a set of settings, which we'll go over shortly. It shows workspace details, channels, contributors, language, import, export status, workflows, publication calendar, workspace sharing, and external assets. And this is also where you can delete the workspaces. All right, so let's say you have all the files ready and folders set up, and you have multiple Experience Cloud sites that will need access to all of these files and folders. The easiest way to do that is to share the content from your CMS workspace to those Experience Cloud sites. So how do you do that? This was actually done when you set up the workspace initially. So on here, this allows you to share contents to the channels. And I talked about how they can be modified. So this is what we are talking about now. So to modify the sites or channels that you want to share the content from this particular workspace, you go into the gear icon, click on channels. This will bring you to this page. This page will display a list of channels that you are currently sharing the content from this workspace to. So in this stage, I'm sharing the content from this particular workspace with 3 Experience Cloud sites. And if I want to modify that, I click on Manage Channels, and this will display a list of connections that I have, and that allows us to modify, add, or delete the channels that we want to share from this workspace with. All right, let's talk about role access. And this can be configured when you click on the contributors option on the setup in your workspace. So let's say you have a lot of content in your workspace. How do you decide who can do what? And this is where contributors will be very handy. So contributors can be users or public groups. You have 3 contributor roles that are available. You have content admin, content manager, and content author. Content admin basically have full access to everything. They can manage the contributors and sharing. Content manager has full access to the workspace, but can't manage contributors and sharing. Content author, they have full access to the workspace. They can't publish content. Where else admins and managers, they can both publish content. In here, I've got a screenshot where I'm adding this integration user to a role, and this is how you do it. So in the dropdown, it displays all the roles, and you just need to select an appropriate one. All right, let's talk about language. So in here, if you have a multilingual requirement, this is where you can configure it. So gear icon, click on languages, and you'll be able to add languages to your workspace. Import and export status, this is where you can view any export or import jobs. Workflows, again, if you look at the workflows button, this will bring you to this window. So in here, you'll be able to see a list of flows that you have built on this flow orchestration for CMS flow. And this allows you to build automation on these CMS content items. So for example, you have a piece of article that requires approval, and you'll be able to build a basic approval request via this flow template. Moving on, publication calendar. So this will show contents that are scheduled to be published. Workspace sharing. So this is where you can share content from the source workspace to target workspaces. So if we go back to very, very early on, in here I have created 3 workspaces. Let's say you have a lot of content in this first workspace you want to share with other ones. This is where you can do that. So in this workspace sharing, you'll be able to select the target workspace, which contains a list of unshared workspaces. And if you move it to shared, you'll be sharing items from the workspace with the specified workspace. The last item on the setting is external assets. This is where if you have external assets, you'll be able to configure over there. Next, let's talk about CMS channels. So CMS channels allows you to share content in CMS workspaces with other endpoints. And we've been using Experience Cloud sites as examples. So we've talked about how you can set it up to share your content across these site channels. So these are Experience Cloud sites. Now, in addition to Experience Cloud sites, you can also share the content in CMS workspaces with Lightning Experience apps and also Marketing Cloud. So to do that, you can go into the CMS channel item in the Digital Experiences app and click on Create Channel. And these are a list of connection types that are available. You have public. So when you select public, the content on this channel is publicly available. Restricted, you'll be restricted to specific users. The B2C commerce page designer, the content on this channel is available via the B2C commerce page designer. By default, with all of your sites, Experience Cloud sites, you'll appear over here on the CMS channels without having to create it. So you only have to create it if you are doing it for learning experience apps, Marketing Cloud, or you have special requirements around connection types, such as public restricted or the B2C commerce page designer. All right, so what we've covered so far is uploading content to CMS Workspaces. What if you have content that lives externally outside Salesforce? This is where CMS CMS Connect becomes really handy. On a high level, CMS Connect allows reusing assets and allows you to have consistent branding. You can connect to third-party content management systems to your Experience Cloud sites. One thing to know is that at the current stage, it's only available for Aura sites, not available for LWR yet. So to add a CMS connection, you'll need to go to Setup, Digital Experiences, All Sites, Workspaces, Content Management, Add CMS Connection. When you add CMS connections, this will be the options that will be available, which we'll go over shortly. If you go to the LWR site, you'll notice that there is no content management option available. And because that's not available, you won't be able to add CMS connection as mentioned over here. So going back to the CMS connection, these are the CMS sources that are available to you. So you can connect it to AEM, which is Adobe Experience Manager, Drupal, WordPress, SDL, Sitecore, and supports other ones that's not on the list as well. Available types. So with your CMS connection from third parties, it supports HTML, CSS scripts or JavaScripts and JSON. Also allows you to do language mapping as well. Let's take a look at the content delivery network next. So we've talked about a lot about the CMS content that we're uploading, whether these are videos, articles, documents. How do we actually ensure that when lots of people are viewing it, these contents are delivered to the Experience Cloud site reliably? So we can use content delivery network. This will allow us to improve site performance. It minimizes delay when it's logged in the CMS Salesforce content. Also, it allows you to increase number of requests that the server can handle. If you are preparing for the consultant exam for Experience Cloud, you'll need to be aware of the prerequisites and considerations. I've included the link over here for you to go over. I won't cover in detail, so essentially there is a list of prerequisites for Salesforce Content Delivery Network, and you might get asked some of these ones. So focus on the bold sections. This will give you an idea of what's important, and that is the same with the considerations. So in the exam, you might get asked about the considerations for the content delivery network. So in this article, it tells you the supported domains, levels, and sites, the environment, timing, and provisioning a domain for Salesforce CDN, third-party CDN. Again, focus on these high-level headings. This will help you with preparation for the exam. All right, in terms of resources, I've included a bunch of articles on the CMS and also how to enable access to the Digital Experiences app. There's a trailhead that covers the CMS basics. Highly recommend you to go through this. There's the CMS developer guide that talks about how you can connect external CMS, and help articles that I've talked about that's related to the content delivery network and also CMS workflows and approvals. All right, let's take a look at topic 4, which is about making knowledge articles visible or accessible in an Experience Cloud site. In this topic, we'll go over what Salesforce knowledge is, how to set up knowledge articles. We'll go over data categories and data category groups, and how you can use it with knowledge articles to organize and make it visible or accessible to users. We'll then go over knowledge article visibility summary, followed by resources. Let's take a look at Salesforce knowledge. We'll start with the overview, followed by going over the required steps to set it up. So what is Salesforce knowledge? Salesforce knowledge provides the ability to build a knowledge base in Salesforce. It's basically a collection of knowledge articles with relevant information about the products and the services that your company provides to enable a self-service model for your users to solve their own queries, so they don't need to contact your team. They'll be able to find answers without needing to log a case. So before knowledge articles can be used in an Experience Cloud site or internally, there are a few prerequisite steps that are required. First, we'll need to enable Lightning Knowledge. To enable this, we'll go into Setup Knowledge Settings and tick Enable Lightning Knowledge. You also need at least one knowledge user license to set up Salesforce Knowledge. However, the license is not required to view knowledge articles. You also need to enable topics for knowledge object via Setup Topics for Objects. Click on the knowledge object and enable topics. We'll cover topics in the next part of the video. Record types. So you need to set up record types and page layouts and Lightning record pages, and you need to customize them for different article formats. So for example, if you have frequently asked questions and you have troubleshooting, you might want to have different fields displayed and different page layouts for it. Let's now take a look at knowledge articles. We'll start with an overview covering what knowledge articles are. We'll then go over object and record type access, followed by visibility settings. So in short, a knowledge article is a piece of content stored in knowledge records that can help users to find answers, troubleshoot issues, or learn about products and services. It's acting as a building block of a company's help center. So for example, you have frequently asked questions, how-to guides, troubleshooting steps, product information, policies, and procedures, or internal knowledge base. These are some of the common use cases. So for Experience Cloud sites, these knowledge articles can be used for customer portals, partner portals. For Service Cloud, these can be helping agents to answer questions quickly. You can have a public help center with knowledge articles, or even for internal team members who need quick access to documented processes. So down here, this is a screenshot of what a knowledge record looks like. In the highlight panel, it shows you the record type. In this case, it's a FAQ. Gives you the title, the URL name, the summary. So this knowledge article is about how we can find local biking groups. Gives you the record type, validation status, question and answers. Over here on the right hand side, you have categories, which we'll go over shortly. You have the category groups. So this particular article about funding by groups, it belongs to the physical well-being category group, also well-being management. We can also see within each of these category groups, there are data categories. In this case, it's linked against the physical strength and cardio fitness category group under the physical well-being category, and the mental health category group. Sorry, the mental health data category under this category group. All right, so there are object and record type access that will be required to access knowledge articles. Let's take a look at these. So to be able to access a knowledge article like this, you'll first need to have at least read access to the knowledge object, which is shown here, and also access to the required record types. So if you need to see FAQs, you'll need to assign the record type. If you need to see help articles record type, you'll need to have that assigned. If you need to see both, you'll need to have both of these. Usually these are granted via permission sets, but you can also do this via profiles. But with most of the implementations nowadays, it's recommended to use permission sets, as Salesforce is looking to retire profiles in the upcoming future. Now that we have record type access and object access, we'll need to look at knowledge article visibility settings. So each knowledge article can be made visible to different audiences using four visibility settings that are available. So these four settings are visible in internal app, visible to customer, visible to partner, and visible in public knowledge base. Let's take a look at visible in internal app first. So when this is checked, the articles will be accessible only to internal users like admins and case managers. So these articles usually would include proprietary information such as how to deal with difficult customers. So these are typically some of the articles that you only want internal users to see, not necessarily for external users. So in summary, you want to check this checkbox when you want internal users to see these articles, and other users, you don't want them to be able to see it. Next, we have visible to customer. So it's for authenticated users with a customer profile. They'll be able to view these articles by logging into a self-service site, for example. So an example of such articles that you will make it visible to customer will be how to test your solar panel. Next, we have visible to partner. So these articles are usually for trusted partners only. So for example, a company might share an article with its partners about how to sell our products effectively, which wouldn't be relevant or visible to your regular customers. Next, we have visible in public knowledge base. So these are articles that you are comfortable and to make it accessible to everyone without authentication, meaning without logging in, such as frequently asked questions like how much will I save if I install a solar hot water heater. So in summary, we can think of these visibility settings as the first gate. So if an article is not marked visible to the correct audience, the user will never see it. It doesn't matter how everything else is configured. So for example, even if you have read object permissions, access to record types, but these are not made available to the targeted audience, then they won't be able to see it. But of course, if you have modify all and view all, it still bypasses this. You'll still be able to see everything. I'm more referring to the users without modify all, view all object permissions. All right. So after article visibility settings, let's look at the next layer of control, which are data category and data category groups. So we'll start by going over the overview. Then we'll talk about how to configure data category and data category groups. When we go over data category and data category groups, we will go over how to create them, how to assign knowledge article with data category and data category group, and how to control article access using them. So let's take a look at the overview. Before we go over what they are, let's understand how Salesforce Knowledge uses data category and data category groups. So it uses these to organize articles in a way that makes them easy to find. The data category and data category groups are also used to control access to articles, and this can be done via roles, profiles, or permission sets. Let's start with data category groups. Data category groups, it holds multiple data categories. So you can think of these data category groups as big folders or sections that hold related categories. For example, you can have these data category groups such as phones, laptops, TVs, accessories, and support. Data categories, so these are like subfolders or classifications within each group that help you to further organize the content. So for example, if we look at this laptops data category groups, you can have gaming, business, and student data categories. These are basically classifications within the laptop group. Now let's also take a look at knowledge articles. So we talked about it earlier that knowledge articles are the actual piece of information similar to documents or guides that you want to organize. Articles can belong to multiple categories and category groups. So for example, an article about a laptop can be tagged under the laptops group with gaming and business categories. So if you have a gaming laptop that's also capable of processing business documents, then you can take it under the laptops data category group. And within that, you can take it against gaming and business data categories. At the same time, you can also take the laptop article under the support data category group as well. And within the support data category group, you can have categories like 3-year warranty or 2-year warranty. All right, now that we understand what data category and data category groups are and how they are being used with Salesforce Knowledge articles, let's look into how we can actually configure them and use them to organize articles and control access as well. Let's first take a look at how to create them. So to create them, you'll need to go to Setup, Data Category Group Setup. In here, you'll need to click on New to create Data Category Group. You need to enter the group name, the unique name, and also description for your data category group. Click on Save. Once the data category group has been created, in this case it's laptops, you can add individual data category in there. So we had gaming, business, and student up here under the laptops category group. Once this is done, you'll need to activate it. The way you do that is under the inactive category groups, you'll need to click on the Activate category group icon, this will then become activated, and you'll be under the active category groups section once it's activated successfully. So we've talked about how to create them. Let's talk about how to actually assign knowledge article with data category and data category group. And I want to go over two of the reasons why we want to assign them. So we want to assign them to knowledge articles to help to organize knowledge articles into categories and groups. Also, you'll help us to control access. So let's talk about how we can actually assign them. So to add data category or data category group and data categories, we will need to add this lightning component, which is called the article data categories on your lightning record page. So go to the knowledge record page and drag this component over here and click on save. To be able to edit the categories, you need to ensure the article is in the draft status. After you confirm it's in the draft status, click on this drop down in the categories component, click on edit. And this is where you can select data category groups and or data categories. So in this case, going back to the earlier example, this article about finding local bike groups, we want to add it to these categories, these category groups, physical well-being and well-being management. And underneath each of these, you can see under physical well-being, there are 3 data categories, and I'm only selecting 2. And for well-being management, I'm selecting the mental health. There is also an option to select the entire data category group. All you need to do is to find your data category group and check it against it, and it's going to pick up all the child data categories underneath the group. All right, let's now talk about how we can actually control article access using data category and data category groups. So in this section, we'll talk about many things actually. We'll start with how we can set the data category visibility via roles permissions or profiles. We'll talk about the 3 visibility settings for data category and data category groups. Then we'll talk about the default data category visibility and how to configure them and additional considerations. All right, let's talk about the default data category visibility. This is essentially the org baseline. So to configure this, you'll need to go to Setup, go to Default Data Category Visibility. There are 3 settings that are available. You have all categories, custom, and none. When you set the visibility to all categories, all the categories in the category group will be visible by default. So in this screen over here, you'll display a list of data category groups that you have created for the org. If you have marked all categories as visible, for example, in laptop, if you mark visibility as all categories, then all the data categories within this category group laptop will be visible by default. So earlier underneath laptop, we've set up gaming, business, and student. If you have marked it as all categories, then all of those data categories will be visible by default. Custom, you can make some of the categories visible by default. So going back to the laptop example again, if you don't want to make gaming, business, and student visible by default, you can select a few. So for example, instead of making all of these visible, I can just make gaming visible by default. And that's where you can use the custom visibility setting option. Or you can select none, and this means no categories will be visible by default. All right, so we've talked about the default settings. Let's go into how this can be further controlled using roles permission sets or profiles. We'll start with looking at roles. So to configure visibility for roles, you'll need to go into Role, go into Category Group Visibility Settings, and you'll see this section over here. And again, this is very similar to the default visibility setting, but in here you are configuring it specifically for the role, in this case, the CEO role. And for example, if I want to configure the financial management data category group, I'll click on Edit, and you'll bring me to this window over here where I can select the visibility. So it's either all categories, none, or custom. The same as the visibility options available when we talked about the default data category visibility. Now let's go over profiles and permission next. It's very similar. So select the profile or permission set you want to configure. Then you'll need to go into the data category visibility section. And again, this will show you a list of category groups that are available in your org. And as example, we'll use financial management. If you click on Edit and you want to go custom, we want to make investing and budgeting visible for this profile. This is how you would do it. All right, let's go over some of these considerations. These are quite important, especially when it comes to the Salesforce Experience Cloud Consultant exam. So first consideration here is that the data category security model actually differs from most standard Salesforce security models. So normally you'll begin with the most restrictive level of access at the base and open up or grant access from there. So for example, if you have the opportunity object, it's recommended that you will set the org-wide default to private and use roles or sharing roles to open up the access. However, with data categories, the model is actually the opposite. By default, it actually starts with an open security model as the default. Then you restrict the visibility from there using roles, profiles, or permission sets. And I'll get to this in a bit on exactly what this means with examples. So, a very important thing to know is that if an article has no data category assigned, everyone can actually see it. So let's go back to this article here. How can I find my local bike groups? Pretend that there are no category assigned here. This will mean that everyone actually can see this knowledge article. So that's something that you'll need to bear in mind that is different to what you are used to for most of the standard Salesforce security models. And the main reason behind this is that for knowledge articles, we want to make it accessible to as many people as possible, and you only want to restrict it if you need to. And this is why, by default, with knowledge articles, you use data category, and data category groups to control access. And we'll go over how you can actually get around that. So if using data category groups and data category does not meet your visibility requirement, you can actually enable the standard sharing setting for knowledge, where you can use org-wide defaults or sharing rules to control your access, as opposed to data category and data category groups, which will cover that shortly. All right, so we've gone over how if an article has no data category or category groups assigned, everyone can see it. Now let's go over the next point. So roles, permission sets, and profiles override the default visibility. So what this means is, let's go back to the default data category group visibility. So as example, if the laptop's visibility is set to all categories, that means by default, everyone can see the laptop's category. But in your profile, let's say in the standard user profile for laptops, if you have set the visibility to none, people with this profile will actually won't be able to see articles in the laptops category. And this goes back to how the model is different to the traditional Salesforce sharing data model. When we work with data categories, we need to think the opposite. So we actually use roles, profiles, and permission sets to restrict visibility. And that is what we've just covered. So if the default visibility is all categories and your roles, permission sets, or profiles is more limited than the default, then the roles, permission sets, and profiles would actually override the default visibility. Let's go over this next point. So if you do configure visibility using roles, profiles, or permission sets, then any user who is not assigned visibility to at least one category will not see any categorized articles and only see uncategorized content. So what does this mean? So for example, with the standard profile, if we have configured visibility as none to all of the category groups, meaning that this user hasn't been assigned to at least one category. Because you can't see any of these category groups that you have over here, you won't be able to see any articles that are in any of these four categories. But you'll still be able to see articles that are not categorized. And this is what we talked about in point number 1. So if article has no data category assigned, then everyone can see it. And that holds true regardless of what your profile, permission sets, or roles configuration is. All right, let's talk about role-based visibility setting inheritance. So child roles. So how does data category group and data category visibility settings apply when it comes to role inheritance? So over here, we took earlier on, we have CEO as example, and these are all the category group settings. And the visibility is all set to all. Underneath the CEO, we have the CFO. And what you can see over here is that in the category group visibility settings, instead of all, it's inherited from the CEO instead. And if we take the financial management data category group as an example, these are the options that's available for the CFO, which is below the CEO in terms of role hierarchy. And these are the visibility settings. We've got inherited from CEO, none, and custom. So notice how the all Categories option is gone, and instead you have the inherited from CEO option. Alright, let's go over a couple of visibility setting enforcements. First one that we'll go over is what happens when you set a category as visible. What does it do to the related data categories? Second one is when you have a knowledge article assigned to multiple data category groups. What does the user need to have in order for the article to appear? All right, let's take a look into the first one. So setting a category as visible makes that category and its entire directly related family line, ancestors, immediate parent, primary children, other descendants visible to users. So what does this mean in practice? So for example, if we have a category group called geography, on the top level you have Asia, Europe, Africa. So these are your continents at the top level. On the second level, you have countries. So let's take the Asia continent. You have Japan, South Korea, and Singapore as countries. These are at the second level. And cities, for example, in Japan, you have Tokyo, Osaka, and Ginza. These are at the third level. So if your roles permission set of profile gives you access to the Japan data category, what does this mean? It means that you can see articles that's been classified with Asia, with Japan, and all Japan cities. In other words, you can see categories that have a direct vertical relationship to Japan. For example, Asia, Tokyo, Osaka, and Ginza. But you can't see articles classified at or below Europe and other continents. So if there are articles classified under the Europe data category, then you won't be able to see it. So think of this as a vertical tree. Visibility goes up and down, not sideways. So if your profiles, roles, or permission sets provides you access to the Japan data category, what does this mean? So if Japan is the only visible category granted in your profiles, roles, or permission sets, then you can see articles that fall within the Asia data category, Japan category, and all Japan cities such as Tokyo, Osaka, Ginza data category. However, you can't see sibling categories such as South Korea or Singapore, or cities below South Korea or cities below Singapore. So in other words, you can see categories that have a direct vertical relationship to Japan, such as Asia, Tokyo, Osaka, Ginza, but you can't see articles classified at or below Europe or Africa. So the way to think about it is think of it as a vertical tree. Visibility for data categories, it goes up and down, not sideways. All right, next we have this scenario where a knowledge article has been assigned to multiple data category groups. The user must have visibility to at least one category in each group for the article to appear. So for example, if we have an article called How to Maintain a Road Bike, and this is assigned to two data category groups. You have the product data category group and the audience data category group. And it's also within the product data category group, it's assigned to the bikes data category And within the audience data category group, it's assigned to the beginner data category. So this is how the visibility would work. In order to see this article, how to maintain a road bike, you will need access to the bikes data category and the beginner data category to be able to see the article. If you have access to the bike data category, but you have no access to the beginner data category, then you will not be able to see the article. If you have access to the bikes data category and a subcategory within audience called advanced only, then you will still not be able to see this article because there is no matching category in the audience group. You have to match both the beginner data category within the audience data category group and the bikes data category within the product data category group. So in summary, each category group must have at least one matching visible category. Otherwise, the article is hidden. So for example, if an article has 10 data category assigned, then you will need to have access to all 10 data categories in your roles permissions or profile to be able to see this knowledge article. All right, let's quickly cover off the knowledge article visibility summary now that we've gone to depth about each of the considerations and also visibility settings. So by default, knowledge article visibility depends on prerequisite steps. So you need to enable Lightning Knowledge. You need to set your record types and objects. There are also article visibility settings that will control the article visibility to your audiences, such as visible in internal app, visible to customer, partner, public knowledge base. You also have data category and data category group to control visibility. And this is the main method to control knowledge article visibility by default. What you'll notice is that if you go to sharing settings, knowledge articles do not have organization-wide defaults, sharing rules, or doesn't support manual record sharing. So if data category and data category group does not meet your business requirements, you can use standard sharing on knowledge article. So to enable this, you can go to Setup Knowledge Settings, use standard Salesforce sharing. This will mean that data categories and data category groups no longer affect who can see articles. You can still use these to organize knowledge articles. Once you have enabled standard sharing, you will be able to configure org-wide defaults for knowledge articles, sharing rules, manual record sharing. All of these will become available. Resources, again, I've included a bunch of helpful resources, a few help articles, how to enable Salesforce knowledge, how to grant access to customers, how does sharing work for Lightning Knowledge, how to work with data categories and data category visibility, also considerations around knowledge articles. We've covered most of these, the important points anyway already in this video, but if you want to dive even deeper, feel free to refer to these knowledge articles. I've also included 3 childhood exercises for you to get hands-on. First one is around setting up knowledge articles and customization. Second one is around having knowledge articles on Experience Cloud sites. And third one is again around setting up Salesforce knowledge. And that wraps up part 2 of the Experience Cloud Consultant Exam Preparation Series. In part three, we'll go over two key focus areas. We'll go over administration, setup, and configuration, which is worth a quarter of the exam. In here, we'll go over how to implement channel sales for partner relationship management. We'll talk about how we can deploy and migrate Experience Cloud sites, how to enable and activate sites, also how to implement dedicated external user administration, how to build public experiences for guest users, how to configure topics, and how to utilize Service Cloud capabilities inside Experience Cloud. We'll also spend some time going over adoption and analytics, which will cover how to set up Experience Cloud dashboards, how to use Experience Cloud Insights, how to apply moderation features, and covering the best practice for driving adoption and engagement. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss part 3 and part 4 of the video. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I would love to help you on your certification journey. See you in the next video.